Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. This is episode number 97. I am Jason, owner of Outdoor Legacy, and I've got my co-host, Hans from the Hans East Texas YouTube channel. What's going on tonight, Hans?
Hey, good evening, Jason. I tell you, man, it has been a string of bad luck for us with people getting sick, but I am I've got the crud again, and I feel like I'm losing my voice, and it's really starting to break up right now that I'm trying to project my voice for my awesome radio voice,
Your
but
awesome radio voice. Well,
which nobody's ever said, but
it's funny because the other day I was talking to a guy and just talking about, kind of being sick or whatever, and he was like, "Man," he said, "it was a few weeks ago," and he said, "both you and Hans sounded like crap." He said, "Y'all were
no.
sick." I was like, It's been almost every week, it seems like, since we got back from SHOT Show, one or both of us has had either cold, sinus, junk. But yeah, well,
Mine's definitely sinus junk, and I can tell when I'm getting a sinus infection, and there's nothing you can do about it. I know I got it. I sound a lot worse than I feel. I don't feel bad at all, but it's, it sounds terrible. But hey, so we've talked a lot recently about hog hunting tournaments, coyote hunting tournaments, the big hog hunting tournament up in Wise County was completed, I think, maybe last week or the week before. Recently it completed. Yeah. And want to congratulate the winners of that contest, the Southern Night Stalkers. If you want to find them on Instagram, you can just search Southern Night Stalkers on Instagram. I know they're on there. They may be on Facebook. I don't know. I'm not on Facebook, but you may be able to find them. But they shot, what was it,
360? I want to say like 360, 362.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys are fans of the show. They're friends of ours.
Oh, yeah.
Online, good guys. Where are they at? Are they down, I want to say, around College Station, Texas? Is that right? Am I dreaming?
I think they're down there near Bryan,
I think that's right.
College Station. And I was following it on Instagram because they shot that hog, and then they had to immediately, I mean, we're talking for a prize of $30,000.
Right.
And they immediately, I think right after that next day, or maybe even that night, made the trip from Bryan College Station all the way up to, what is it, Decatur?
Decatur.
Somewhere up north. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for people that are listening that don't live in Texas, that's a long drive.
It is a long drive.
It's a long drive, but for $30,000, I would hook it up there too as quick as I could. But
I think that's where they're from, is because I know I was looking here on Instagram. I know that it's they're around the Brazos River, but man, I'm telling you, that was a huge hog. And I'm just going to tell you something, folks. And Hans and I kind of like to joke about this, and we've made some comments on the show before, but everybody has got a 400 or 500 pound pig hanging out behind their house at their feeder. Some people have just 500 pound hogs running around like crazy. I'll tell you what, 370 pounds and you'd win $30,000. So I'm not saying that there aren't 400 pound hogs. There are, but they're not behind every tree. Not in Texas anyway.
People out of state, I think, sometimes feel like, or I'm not out of state, but out of the South, maybe up north where there's not that many hogs. I think a lot of people feel like a 300 pound hog is more common than it actually is. It is. It's very rare to get a 300 pound hog, especially in East Texas. I think it's pretty rare to get a 300 pound hog. But man, congratulations to those guys. That's awesome.
It is. It's a big deal, and I'm proud for them. And I do want to say before the YouTube comments fill up, it would be. I know it happens, folks. We're not saying, Hans and I have both killed some hogs that are rivaling 300 pounds. Not 360, I can tell you that.
No,
but I want to also say, not a bar hog. That is a hog that has been cut. So we're excluding those. If you take and people are going, what are y'all talking about? It's very common down here for guys to, run hogs with dogs, catch them. And if it's a boar, they'll cut it and they'll let it go. He can't breed, but he's still out there. And a hog like that will get huge because all he's got to do is eat. and he'll just eat. He's not breeding. He's not doing, and I don't know how that changes with the testosterone and whatever, but they get big.
Well, they're not out there chasing them women. Think about how us men get when we get older.
Yeah. Is that why you're getting fat? Because you're not out chasing women?
We all get bigger, man. It's just part of getting older.
There's a lot I could say. We better move on.
Exactly. Talking about hogs. The biggest hog I've shot and weighed was 319. Mm-hmm. I shot a 296 pound bar hog. I've had several up in that range, but 300 pound hog is very rare. A 363 pound hog is extremely rare. Congratulations. Yeah, they're very, they're big friends of the show. They message us all the time. Great guys. Glad to see that they won it. We were also rooting for Glenn Guess, who was hunting in the tournament, hoping he would have a good. He's always shooting big hogs. He didn't get in the money this year, but there's also another team. They're fans of the show. I think they placed too. I think they won $18,000. I don't know what place that is, but the Ferocious Flamingos. That's the team. Ferocious Flamingos.
I did see that. I forgot that and they were, I think, second place, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. Yeah.
So shout out to them, Ferocious Flamingos. You gotta, I don't know all the team names, but that's a pretty funny one.
That's a pretty good name. There's some there's some good team names. Well, next year, I think that I think Hans and Jason are gonna chip in on this deal, just in case we run across some big piney woods raider that runs out here, and
we've already talked about it. Yeah,
it's that much money. I'll gamble.
Yeah, I don't know what the entry fee is, but it's worth it, and
it's worth it.
And so I think it's to sign up. I'm not sure, but it's the hunting game is the contest that it's run through. And man, I am sounding worse as this.
You are getting worse. We better jump in here. Yeah. Hey, we better get this deal rolling. I want to mention one more thing before we get into a review. We've got a really good show for you. That is, we've mentioned this briefly on the show. We've talked about the firmware updates that are available for the Pulsar XP series scopes, whether it's the XP Trails, XP Helions, XP Thermions, Accolades, whatever it is. If it's got an XP before it, it's got an update. Well, since we've talked about that, Pulsar came out with an XM update. So that was for the Axions and the Thermion XMs. Now they have, in the last few weeks, they've come out with the third and final update, and that is for the XQs. So everything that is an XQ, all the, I say everything. I need to be careful here. Trails, what else? Gosh, Trails, the Helions,
Helion,
Accolades, and then there will be obviously some Trail Thermions coming. But it's an image quality update. It's a big update, and it is also, from what I understand, even on the XQs and the XMs, because the image quality is upgraded, it also lets the video out be upgraded as well, from my understanding. I've seen some videos there, some before and afters that some people have sent us. It looked really good. So be sure to do that. Now, again, if you've got any of those optics, you just go to, connect to Stream Vision, and you'll see if there's an update. I'm not going to get into all that right now, but I do want to say one thing that I learned that was a shock to me. A customer told me this last week. He said he was trying to update his Axion Key XM30. And I said, well, you can't update it. It's a key. It doesn't have Wi-Fi, can't connect to Stream Vision. And he said, no, you can. And I said, no, you can't. I said, Pulsar has specifically said this. I've seen where they publicly on social media told someone you cannot update because of that. And he said, here's the link. He sent me a instruction link from Pulsar International's website, from the manufacturer's website, that shows and tells step-by-step how to update an XM Axion key. So I was blown away.
Nothing like eating a little crow, huh?
Oh man, I ate it too, and I apologized. And no, he thought it was funny. He said he had heard the exact same thing. He was surprised. You know, I don't know if he'd Googled it or what. Somebody sent it to him. So I read it over. He was having some trouble getting it done, but it seemed fairly easy. You could download the update to your computer and what have you. But anyway, so just FYI, it looks like that update is probably available. I've had some people who've asked me, and I have incorrectly told them you cannot do it. But there must be some way, according to the instructions on Pulsar's website. So I wanted to bring that up. But I want to jump on in. We've got a good show, a good review tonight, and Hans has got a lot to say about this. So I want him to talk about this before he loses his voice.
No, I'm good. Okay. I took a drink. So yeah, tonight we have. A couple weeks ago, we reviewed the AGM ASP TM25-384. I've got that in my hand right here. Tonight, we're going to be reviewing the, I guess it would be its little brother, something like that. You go. The AGM ASP TM25-384. So on the right-hand side of the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, I've got the TM35. I've got the TM25 here. Jason's going to run down the specs. We're going to be giving our full review, likes, dislikes, takeaways, all that kind of jazz. And I'll show both of them at the same time so you can see what the differences are. But Jason's going to run down the specs, and then we're going to give our thoughts on it.
And if you're listening to this and not watching, we're talking about monoculars. I don't think he mentioned they were actually monoculars. So just so you know, they are monoculars. And so, again, this is the AGM ASP TM25-384 thermal monocular. And just so you know, it's pretty logical. It took me a little bit, though. It wasn't logical to me. TM, thermal monocular. 25 is the 25 millimeter objective lens, and 384 is fairly obvious. That is the resolution. So this unit is a fixed focus 25 millimeter objective lens. The other one we talked about was the 35, obviously a 35 millimeter objective with the focusable objective lens. So this one tonight is a fixed focus. What that does is it brings the price down, and it also brings the image quality down one step just because you can't get that super sharp focus. But I want to go ahead and jump into these specs real quick. I promise I won't take too long running down them tonight. This thing comes in at $1,795. It is a 1.7 power base magnification. It does have a 1x and 2x digital zoom, so you can, or a 2x and 4x, I guess I should say, so you can zoom it up. It's 384 by 288 thermal core resolution at 17 microns. One thing that's worth mentioning, and we failed to mention this on the 35, but this has a 35 millikelvin rating on that thermal core. That is very low. That is means that there is more detail in the image, and that is very, very low, and that is really the reason I think we're going to talk about the image quality is so good on it because of that rating. It's a 50 hertz refresh rate. It's got an OLED display screen. It's an IPS67 rating, which means it is fully submersible, 3 foot of water for 30 minutes. Also dust proof as well. It has 4 color palettes. You got black hot, white hot. There's some kind of a red fusion, something they call it, and I don't remember the other. There's 4 color palettes: black hot, white hot, and a couple extras.
I love hearing you try to guess what these different fruity looking
they do. They're like fruity pebbles. They've all got some name for them, and they're all, whatever. And at the end of the day, most everybody's using black hot and white hot, so that's the way that goes.
There's raspberry and there's cherry limeade and any other Sonic drink that you can think of that's what color palette
true.
has.
It's true. So it is a 5-hour battery life on an internal non-removable battery. And that is a true test. We ran the unit, charged it all the way up, all the way down, and we got within 2 minutes of 5 hours, which is what AGM advertises, which is absolutely realistic. Again, that's a bench test indoors, just letting the thing run. Might be a little bit less in the field. And then it is rated down to negative 22 degrees. That's something that's a big deal for our northern friends hunting coyotes. They're always worried about how cold it will go. And for the Texans and the Southerners, we're good all the way up to 131 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're good on the top end. We don't care about those negative numbers. That's a dream. And then it weighs 16.2 ounces. And that is the rundown on it.
All right. So I've got, again, I was showing it, if you're watching YouTube, showing it while Jason was talking about it. Got the 35, which is the model that we reviewed 2 weeks ago. Got the 25. I mean, you can see it, the size is pretty close to the same. The only reason the 35 is a little bit larger is because it's got that bigger objective lens on it. Hangs out there a little bit further. But as far as how big around it is, it's almost identical. The layout of the buttons are identical. The big difference, Jason, and one of the things that why we wanted to have that TM25 in our hand so we could compare it to the TM35 is that fixed focus objective lens. And anytime anybody hears that, they get a little bit concerned, because they know that the image quality suffers a little bit when you do that. Now, I will be doing a video. It's been deemed the walkout video. Everybody wants to know when I'm doing the walkout video, but I will line up these scopes side by side, and I'll attempt to walk from 50 to 300 yards out and stay on camera in one take this time, because I don't have anybody that'll go out and do it. My daughter's too small to be able to work these things. So I'm going to have to rig up a way where I can set up these two binoculars at the same time. But I'll set them up side by side, start at 50, go out to 300, come back. So you'll be able to see that. I'll be posting it on, I know I'll be posting on Instagram. I'll be posting it on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll get it over on Facebook.
You'll get it on Facebook. And I will be doing full reviews of both of these thermal optics very soon, starting with the TM35. So, Jason, to go back to what we talked about a couple weeks ago, the things that I guess we start with the negatives. Since we did that last time, we'll kind of follow. My voice feels like it's getting a little bit better now. Maybe it's getting stronger.
Sounds worse, but okay.
Oh, nothing like a good friend to just kick you in, and you know what?
Right? I'm here to be honest and tell you the truth.
Good. I need more people like that around me.
You do.
Okay. You do. So, the same things, and I'll let you talk about this. Same things I said last week. Very small negatives that I thought. It does have the. You said it, but the longer boot up time. That's a big thing for you. Takes longer than most optics a little bit to boot up once you hold that power button down for, it seems like, you had the breakdown. You knew it. You wrote it down. It really didn't bother me that much. But by the time you touch the button, hold it down, you let it go, 5 or 6 seconds later, the screen comes on. But it's 30 seconds before all the menu functions are ready to be able to be used. I mean, you can see. You're
viewing in probably, I don't remember now, I think 15 seconds, but it's.
Is it 15? Okay.
I don't have it in front of me, but something like that.
Yeah.
It is. It's just a slow boot up. I mean, it's not the end of the world. And like I said, you are viewing the screen in a decent amount of time. It's just a longer boot up than normal.
So the thing that I said last time was about the nuke or the recalibration process in the unit, how it's a very a hard, deliberate nuke, meaning you can feel the unit kind of shake a little bit when it's recalibrating that screen. You can hear it probably more than you would some of the other units out there on the market.
I want to pause you. So keep thinking what you're thinking, but I want to bring this up right here. I had somebody specifically ask about that because you brought it up last time, and the guy said, he called and asked about this on the phone. He goes, so does that mean if I'm hunting, it's going to be so loud the animals are going to hear it and spook? And I'm like, whoa,
if you're 3 feet away.
Yeah, it's nothing like that. I honestly think you feel it as much as you hear it. I mean, I think
feel it. It's a click.
It's a click. You hear it in the pulsars as well, but
just imagine a camera when you take a picture of the shutter of a camera.
No, it's not that bad. Now you're getting an exaggeration.
I
can hear a shutter from more than 3 feet if you click a camera with a shutter on it. 3 feet. That's big.
Well, no, I was joking about 3 feet, but I think I do think it's similar to a shutter camera, but
I think we have a point of disagreement, but okay.
Oh,
It's not
gosh, here we
near
go.
that loud.
It's
but
not that
okay.
loud. If you're out in the field, you're not going to scare or spook anything.
Sales of AGM just crashed because Hans tells
Oh,
everybody that it's like a 1880 camera and the thing flashes and poof. And
no, it's nothing like that. It's not like one of those old time cameras. And it may not be as loud as a shutter, but you're not going to spook anything. It's not loud enough that it bothered me. When I had it out in the field, I had both units out in the field for a long time, and I wasn't concerned about it. And
let's just be clear, and we'll end it on this.
oh,
He's not wrong that it is a little more pronounced, but I would have never brought it up. So I'm not saying that he's wrong to bring it up. I'm just making the point that it's not so bad that like you should throw this thing in the garbage.
No, and
that's
these
all
are
I'm
very
making
small.
the point is.
You know, when I brought it up 2 weeks ago, these are small items. It's not that big of
We're
a deal.
nitpicking, but we're looking for stuff. Hey,
we got to.
That's what we
That's
do.
what we're here
That's
for.
what we do is find nitpicky
Because
things.
if we don't mention it, somebody's going to say, "Hey, you kind of mentioned you missed this part." So these are very, very small. I mean, I'm going to mention the same thing I did 2 weeks ago. The cap doesn't go on very easily, but here I am messing with it, and the cap's staying on perfectly now. And I don't know what I'm doing different, but like I said, those are the only two minor things. It's got a harder nuke than most, and the cap falls off. But it's got an awesome flashlight at the end, just like the other one. So completely makes up for it.
Yeah, I do want to bring up one thing here that well, I'm going to bring up the one other thing that I know everybody wants to talk about, and that is this internal battery. I just keep getting asked about it. And folks, that's just the way that this industry is going. You know, and part of that is just because the consumer has been begging for longer battery life, and people, I mean, just like today, I had a guy sold on a scope. He was ready to buy it, and he found out it took CR123A batteries. And he said, I'll buy another scope. He said, I'll pay $500 more. I'm not feeding a scope those batteries. And he was looking for internal battery. He said, man, give me an internal battery that'll last for 5 or 6 hours. And I mean, it's funny. Then the next guy is like, oh my gosh, I don't want an internal battery. So it's tough, but there's a lot of stuff going to this, and it's just something we're going to have to get used to. And you know, again, I know the guys that hunt all night long, or guys that are up north in extremely cold temperatures. These internal batteries can be an issue, and at that point, I'd say you're just going to have to use a USB battery pack or something on it to keep it charged that way. I know it's not ideal, but again, it's just kind of the way that this industry seems to be moving, and there may be some, you know, we may come full circle. We may be back to cramming double A's in these things one day, but that's where we're at now. I do think overall the feel of the units is great. I've had some people that, and I know why. If you just look at this thing, it looks similar to a FLIR Scout. And so there's been some comments like, this is nothing but a FLIR Scout. I'm going to tell you something. I've used the FLIR Scouts. This is way better in every way than a FLIR Scout. Okay. This is number one. The FLIR Scouts did not have optical magnification. These units all have optical magnification. These are better units, in my opinion, than the Scouts. They're just more modern. They're a better unit. So that's my 2 cents, because I keep seeing people, and they are similar. Don't get me wrong; they look similar anyway.
They look similar, yeah.
But I think these are better units than those especially for a similar priced product. Right. So I really like this unit. I think for $1,800, it's a real buy for a guy who, again, 1.7 power, that's going to be somebody who is going to be hunting a lot of closer range stuff, maybe looking out there. And this is my opinion, Hans, you can chime in if you think different. Anywhere between, whatever, 30, 40, 50 yards, looking out to 300 or 400 max. But I would say expecting to see most of their animals in that 200 to 300 yard max range. Again, not that you cannot... not that you can't detect animals way out there, but what do you think a realistic identification range on this unit is?
Yeah, around 202 to 250 ID range on this unit. And
I agree.
you know, the TM35 384 was further than that, which you would think. So it's larger objective lens, and you know, it's got more magnification, all that kind of stuff.
And a
You know,
focusable objective. That's a big deal.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, 200 to 250 yards. You know, these units do surprisingly well in the higher humidity.
They do very well.
In the moisture. These things were doing surprisingly well because, again, we've gotten a lot of rain lately. Jason, when you had these units, it was raining. You had them out in the rain. I think one of the units that you were testing got rained on or got soaking wet or muddy.
Oh, soaking wet. Yeah, I had it out there in the field soaking wet.
I remember you saying when you were looking through them, you're like, man, it's raining out here and I can see really well. I got them high humidity. And I'll tell you this, the video that I made and put on Instagram of the TM35, that day it had rained. It was cloudy when I was out there. You know, a bunch of moisture from the rain, and the video still looked great. I mean, it looked really good. And this one, although you're not going to get the ID range distance that you would with the TM35, you know, it's not going to be as crisp of a picture. Yep. The picture's still very good, and if you're needing anything, you know, out to that 200 to 250 yard range, it's a very it's an interesting thing to take a look at and study more about. And definitely, if you have questions, calling Jason or I, you know, to get our 2 cents off air about it as well. But I'll tell you, it's not going to be any different than what we're saying right now.
Yeah, I think that this unit is really good for the guy who wants a thermal that, number one, it's a price point. It's $1,800, so you're hitting a good price point. And I think this is an easy multi-use monocular. I think obviously it works for you know, hog or coyote hunting at the closer ranges. If you're in North Dakota and you're looking a mile and you're calling in coyotes that you're literally going to see running in from 800, 900, 1,000 yards, this is not the monocular for you. It's sure you would see them. Okay, you would detect them, but you're going to want something with some more magnification. I think for East Texas, for a lot of the wooded South, I think this unit is fine. I think it's good for the guy who wants to double for something that he can take deer hunting in the woods because it's lower magnification. It's going to be better if you're looking for a dead deer. It's going to be better if you're looking at animals, you know, trying to see if there's deer out there at your corn feeder when you're coming in or going out. At that, you know, 30 to 100 yard range on those corn feeders where most people are going to have them set. I think this is a really good all around unit for that. And I had a guy ask me, he said, well, which one do I buy, the 25 or the 35? How do I choose? And I think part of it just comes down to like where a lot of things in this industry is money. It's $500 difference. It's $1,800 versus $2,300. And you know, if I think there's no reason if you've just got an extra $500 laying around, and I would buy the 35. If you want the better image quality, I would buy the 35. But I think if you say, man, I want something really good, but I don't want to break the bank, and if I can stay under 2, that's where I really want to be. I think this unit will absolutely do it. And, you know, you won't be missing out on anything. And also, we didn't mention it, all those features there. It does take still images and video, and there is an option for, you know, Wi-Fi and some sort of a smartphone app. We have not tested that app out yet. We've, that's our fault on that. But we don't use the apps on the Pulsars or anybody else's. So that's just not our thing. I mean,
so
I
assume, what do you think about that 1.6 base magnification level? You like where it's at?
1.7. Yes, I do. Here's the thing. Everybody is different and depends on your situation and what you're doing. I think for the average hog hunter, you're going to want somewhere between that 1.5, you know, 1.6, 1.7, whatever this is, somewhere in there to a max of around that 2.5, 3 at the top end. I used one of the Helion's XQ38. It was a 3.1 power. I used it for almost a year as my main thermal monocular. It worked fine, but once I was able to, and let me say this, on the extreme, before that, I used a 1.2 power. So I went from a 1.2 to a 3.1. And what I found, is, for me, I like to be in the middle of that. I greatly prefer to be in that 1.9, to 2.5. So I think this is perfect. This is plenty. It's better than, getting another 1.2 or something. It's there. And people, I know there's guys listening to this and they're going 1.2 and 1.7, 2 and 2.5. It's no difference. It's a large percentage though, because one power, think about this, guys. One power means no magnification, 1x. So when something goes from 1 to 2, or from, and look at the percentage, even from 2 to 2.5, it's a huge percentage of increase. Whereas if you go from 14 power to 14.5 power, that might not be that noticeable. But when you're on this low end, I mean, every 2 to 3 points is a lot. And so anyway, 1.7, I think it's a great all around, again, for a Southern guy. If you're hunting coyotes, I think it's going to be for the guy who, some of these guys that I talked to up north that are in Indiana or Ohio, and they're in some, like, I think maybe they would call them like woodlots or more small fields. It's going to be fine for them. But again, wide open, big range, probably not the monocular for you. You're going to want something with a little more magnification.
Right. Yeah, I think it's perfect magnification level. The 1.7, I thought it was really good. I prefer lower again because I ride around with mine a lot on my Kawasaki Mule, and that lower magnification makes it where I don't feel like I'm getting sick or getting a headache. If it's too high powered, it definitely gives me a headache.
If you're moving, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I'll say one last thing. This unit again is $17.95. And we are going to have them available at outdoorlegacygear.com. We're waiting on them right now to come in stock. By the time you watch this, or whenever, maybe weeks from now, they may be there. So whatever, we're going to have them. But the one thing that I'll say is that I'm very glad to see that the trend is more and more options of thermal monoculars below $3,000. And I know thermal scopes, the prices are pretty stagnant there. We're not seeing a lot come out below $3,000. But what we are seeing in the last couple of years, really the last year especially, is just a big price slide down in thermal monoculars. And these both of these units are just proving it again. We're keeping really good quality, but the price is inching down. And so now, between these AGM units, there's more AGM thermals that we're going to be talking about, handhelds, as well as like the Pulsar Axions. There's getting to be a lot of options in that $1,200 to $2,500 range, and that's something pretty new to have many options there. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, no, I agree, and man, the thermal monoculars has to be such a big. It could be such a big thing for the hunting industry as a whole, because it crosses over into different types of hunting, whether it be hog, coyote, deer tracking. I know cattle ranchers that use thermal monoculars to keep track of their cattle, and when they're in calving season and trying to keep up with all of that, and predator control. So there's so many different uses for thermal monoculars, and there's so many different choices that are coming into the market, and at good value prices. A lot of options, a lot of value in there, good quality. The quality is continuing to get better and better. So, so 2 weeks ago you talked about your negatives. I guess they're pretty much unchanged. And again, nitpicking, not big negatives. So, but I'm assuming that nothing new.
No, I think this unit is no. I mean, you mentioned the negatives. I think this unit is a buy. I think it comes down to exactly like we said, price point, 1,800 versus 2,300. It's just a dollar value. I mean, it's just the way, and magnification as well. And that's what you're paying for. You're going to pay for a little better image quality and a little more magnification. I think it's a great unit. I have nothing negative really to say about it that would keep me from buying it. And I've been encouraging this and the 35 to a lot of people, and can do it with, a clear conscience that these are legitimate, very nice image quality for what you're getting. Something that we wouldn't have guessed was possible, 2 or 3 years ago for this price point.
You got your TM25 for the Southern hog hunter. You got your TM35 for the Midwest coyote hunter. I mean, I don't know. It seems like it's pretty. The prices are good. The units are good.
They are.
Both of us, Jason and I both think that these are good buys. So stay tuned for the videos, the walkout video with both of them side by side. I think it's going to give you a good idea of what it's going to look like. I would have already done that, but the family is camping. I came home to tape this episode, and we are camping. It's kind of funny, and we're wrapping up the show right now, so we'll get into this. We're camping basically in the middle of a city. There's some campgrounds in the middle of the city, and Jason says, "Why are you going camping in the city?" And I said, "Well, I guess
I can't understand that."
Yeah. I guess people that live out in the country, when they want to go camping, they go to the city to camp instead of going out to even more of the country. So
now let's be clear here too, folks. When he says camping, he's talking about a luxury travel trailer.
Oh,
I mean, he's not talking about. I know his wife, and she ain't out there in some pup tent.
No, it's a nice trailer camper, and we're in some campgrounds that are in the middle of. Not a big city, but it's in the city. So the family, and it's not far away. So it's spring break for the kids. They're camping. So I came home so I could record the podcast. And, that's one thing that's not been helping. It'd been sitting out by the campfire, and man, that smoke, you just breathe in that smoke, it just kills you. But if you're interested in purchasing either the TM25, AGM ASP, or the TM35, give Jason a call at 877-350-1818. You can find it on outdoorlegacygear.com. If you look in the description of this video, there will be links to both of these units. So you can just click the link. It takes you right over to outdoorlegacygear.com. So you can find these units and you can buy them on there. Or you can order them over the phone with Jason or I, again, at 877-350-1818. I'm probably going to get the hook here pretty soon, but in the description of the video, all the specs, all the information about it in writing as well. But if you want to find me, you can find me on YouTube, Hans ETX. That's Hans ETX. Also on Instagram, same thing, Hans ETX. And I think, Jason, one of the things that we need to do for and talk about on episode 100 is how I got the name Hans. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna.
You're gonna let the big story out.
Y'all are gonna be so. Don't build it up. Yeah, don't build it up more than what it is.
Yeah, it's not a.
Tune in.
I didn't know it until recently, and I was disappointed.
Tune in, and I'll tell, because there's a lot of people want to know how I got the name Hans. And I'm gonna just say this: I didn't choose it. I would have chosen a lot better name than Hans. There's a lot of good people named Hans. But that is not my birth name. So if I was going to have a nickname, I would have chosen a better nickname than Hans.
You did, something cooler. Yeah,
yeah, something definitely cooler. But stay tuned. I'll probably talk about that on episode 100.
I just want to say one more thing here about these units. If you go over to Outdoor Legacy, you click the link or you search it over there, and if we're out of stock or something, give us a call. Any of these things, not just these. We have stuff coming and going all the time, and listen, folks, you can buy this stuff anywhere. We know that. You can Google it, and there's 100 places it'll pop up. And we fully understand you have the ability to buy that anywhere, but we would really appreciate to have your business. That's what keeps this show going. We are not, I'm just going to tell you the truth, as much fun as Hans and I have doing this, and we do. We have a good time. We're not doing it just because it's fun. We're doing it because we want to help people, but we've got to sell scopes. We've got to sell stuff to stay in business. And that's what we're here for. We want to help you, and we want to provide customer service and reviews that maybe you can't find anywhere else. And so that's what we're here for. So if you don't find it there, you don't find what you're looking for, if it's not in stock, call us, give us the opportunity to help you, because we would love to. And it really helps us continue to further the podcast. So Hans has told you where to find us. You can find the Late Night Vision Show at thelatenightvision.com. That's just the best place because it has links to YouTube, all of our past episodes. It has links to Instagram, YouTube, everywhere that we're at. That's just the easiest place to find them all in one spot. We thank you all for coming back. This was episode 97. We are just a couple episodes away from episode 100, and I think that's going to be a fun episode just to look back over the past episodes. So hopefully we can get there. If Hans doesn't croak out on us over there, we'll good Lord willing, we'll be there. So thanks again, folks, for tuning in every week. Thanks for listening to us. Thanks for all your support. It means a lot to us. And as always, stay safe in the fields and keep making those bacon pancakes.